Hey everybody, Andy Nelson here. Yes, this is a cassette tape for those of you who don't know, and this is a cassette tape with breakdancing music on it, which I got in about 1984 and probably with an instructional poster, and yeah, I was terrible and blah, blah, blah. Does breakdancing music, does it have any real commercial value these days? I do not know. Everything seems to come in cycles, right? And I've seen breakdancing come back, at least in elements, in recent years, and maybe it'll come back in full force in the future. I don't know. So one would look at this and say, God, does that have any value? Can I use this? Can I sample it? Can I do all sorts of things with it? What I say is, at your own risk. Copyright doesn't really last only so long as something protected by copyright has commercial value. It lasts a long time, which kind of allows for things to kind of come in and out of popularity. How long does copyright last? Well, I'll tell you what. Let's first talk about how much copyright might be here. We've got a cassette tape, which has recorded music. So the recording of music protected by copyright. The music itself, the notation, all that, copyright. Lyrics, if there are any lyrics to these songs, copyright. The insert right here, artwork, protected by copyright. So there's a lot of copyright here, and maybe this has no real commercial value, but it really doesn't matter. The copyright holder owns the copyright, which means the right to control copies, exploit those, make derivative works, adaptations and things like that from it for a long time. How long? We'll tell you what. If this was created by, if anything in here was created by a human, let's put it that way, a single author, not employed by somebody else, but Andy, let's say Andy creates this. The copyright lasts for 70 years. After I die, okay? So the copyright exists as long as I'm alive, and then for another 70 years. So guess what? I get to pass this down in a will. It's quite a long time to exploit the value of a copyright, which may go up and down and up and down. So it can be pretty doggone valuable, right? Let's say it's not created by me. Now, look, these things are all created by humans, but I'm saying I create something. I just gave you the duration if it's just me, myself, and I create it. But let's say I create it for my employer, or I create it for somebody else. They hired me to create it. In that case, the copyright is not for my life plus 70 years. It's a bit different. So let's call it an institutional kind of copyright, right? Let's just say a business or a company for a shortcut. Not exactly right, and there's some nuances, but for discussion purposes, let's call it that. If that's the case, the duration is not life plus 70 years after death. What it is once the work is created, it's going to be, sometimes works are created and not actually published. Actually, they're not, they're just kind of warehoused for a while. Once they are published, it's for 95 years after that publication. Or if, let's say something's never published. Okay, well, the law doesn't favor warehousing something forever. So it's going to be 120 years from creation. So in that scenario I just talked about, kind of the institutional copyright, if you will, or creating something for your employer, or for your commission to create something for somebody else, it's going to be either from the date of creation for 120 years, someone gets to exploit it, or 95 years after publication, whichever one is shorter. Okay, so if I publish something in 30 years after I create it, well, it's not going to be another 95 years, right? Because that would exceed the 120 years. So 120 years is going to be the max, and it might actually even be shorter. That was a little bit confusing, I get, but suffice to say, it's a long time. So let's say this was created in roughly 1984. Whoops, sorry. 1984, all this. We're talking about this being most likely 95 years from then. So breakdance comes back in style, great, then this might be re-released. But just because it doesn't have any, or probably doesn't have a whole lot of commercial value right now, does not mean that I get to go snag it and start using it and duplicating it and selling it myself. I'm going to be violating someone's copyright, and someone's going to come calling. So don't think that copyright duration or the life of copyright is somehow tied to its real commercial value or something like that. It is much longer, which means, hey, you're the good guy. You're creative. You're going to be creating things. It can be a long, long time. Anyway, hope that helps. If you have any comments or questions about this video, shoot me a note, leave me a comment below, or if someone else would find value in this, please feel free to share this video. Thanks a lot. Until next time, bye-bye.